Are we on air? I can't tell.
Turn it on. Get the on-air sign
Turn
on,
it
Kevin.
on. We know that's hard for you, Kevin.
Here's a funny thing. Have you ever gotten like
Got water break.
Got water.
So are we doing a podcast? Are we ready?
I think we're doing a podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Bent Motorsports podcast. On this week's podcast, we're going to talk about dead fish.
Oh
no.
It's not dead. I'm alive.
it's not official yet. Nobody's checked his heart rate.
Official.
Official.
You didn't even mean to.
Oh, my God.
Jeez, that was great.
Oh, my God.
He's so smart. He's stupid.
Oh, and as always, this podcast is brought to you by Cutwater Spirits and Off the Grid Surplus. So please check out both of those companies. They're rad.
Can we make LaCroix a sponsor
No,
too?
fuck LaCroix.
It's La Croix.
LaCroix.
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 He's healthy. I wish I were like Jake sometimes.
Yeah, the fish. JJ
Maybe try
drowned.
harder. I don't know.
I did, but then I gave up.
I want to start off with talking about the Netflix show that you guys that we participated in last summer that finally came out, and we got to watch all the episodes. Tex-Mex Motors on Netflix. To be totally honest with you, it's a pretty goofy car show, right? Like, it's nothing very serious. It's a lot of, I don't know, it's tongue in cheek. I don't know. It's just,
It's fast. They definitely don't show you like any.
yeah, it's a very
Stuff,
fast-paced.
Produced by people who maybe aren't car people like your car people.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and it's just not like the normal car show that I'm used to seeing, but it was super fun to do, and it was kind of cool to see it. And if you watch episode 7 on Netflix, that's when the Jakes are on it, and it's super cool.
We're race car builders.
yeah, they're
I don't know
race
if you
car
know that.
fabricators.
I don't know if you know that, but we're race car people.
Yeah, there's Jake
Speaking-
and other Jake.
You
Speaking
guys
of
were
episode
there.
7, it made it to number 7 on Netflix.
I think
Most watched
6
TV
at one
shows.
point in
Did
time.
it?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so sick.
So I mean, super cool. We're super glad to be a part of it, and they liked what we did enough to give these guys basically a shout out and put them in an episode, which makes me feel super
Yeah.
stoked. Mike Coy, I love you, but that show's goofy as fuck. But so are you, so I guess it's appropriate.
Dude, it was the funniest thing to me was like watching it and just seeing like not how much of it's scripted, because obviously like a lot of that stuff is just scripted because they need to know what to say and why they're saying it, and it's got to like appeal to the audience. But seeing how much of it is like just not what happened, you know, like there's so many like real issues that we had that they like didn't get on film, that they didn't put in, that they, and you're like, you see them tear down this car and it's like, dude, we're stopping work for like 3 hours because they're tearing this car down inside the shop, and it's only the cast that's on it. We just got to sit in the other room just eating chips and drinking Monsters and just doing whatever, just waiting for them to be done. And the amount of footage that they use from that is 4 seconds.
So here's a question for that, actually.
Yeah, we don't want to pull the curtain back too far, but it is weird being on a TV show and seeing how much actual footage they get versus what they use. It's crazy.
It's minimal, dude. It's
So
so
minimal.
minimal. We were there for months.
For the actual problems that went on, like, don't you think, I mean, obviously there's only a certain amount of time in the TV show, but they would want to show actual problems and the real people fixing them, or that's not
It's
the
TV,
point
man.
of that?
It's TV. It's just,
Well, I don't believe everything on TV anymore. So
yeah.
Oh,
And
I'm sorry,
He
Kevin.
did before.
We'll talk about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny later.
I can't wait for him to come down my chimney.
the Easter Bunny.
Well,
Yeah.
That's what she said. You tee him up, I'm going to take him. You tee him up, I'm going to take him.
Poor Santa.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
cool though to like, I don't know, like, dude, everyone watches Netflix, and I was like, I was getting texts from like random people like, dude, what's this all about? Like, you're on a TV show, and I'm like, I haven't talked to this guy in like 4 years, but yeah, dude, yep, it's on a TV show, I guess, like episode 7, check it out. Like,
I know we kind of pinged on it last podcast, but is that how you got to helping the people in LA?
yeah.
Yeah, because it's Netflix again.
Okay.
The shop foreman on the other show got the gig as the shop foreman on this show in LA.
Oh, sick.
And so he brought us in because he knows what we're capable of and all that stuff. So he brought us into that show as well.
Are you going to get more screen time? You guys got more screen time than I thought you would.
I didn't
on
think we were going to
episode
get
7.
any at all.
Yeah.
And realistically, like there was more. If you look, like obviously I know what I'm looking for when
I
I
saw you
watch that
welding.
show. But I saw that, and then when they're putting the Bronco body on the frame, I'm also in that, and like under the car, and like helping them carry it in. But they're good with like not getting me in the shot.
Yeah.
As weird as that sounds, like
Well-
they're really not trying to get me in the shot. I'm just extra help that
Yeah.
was there, and they needed somebody to carry this body on.
Well,
you
that's
know?
what, you got to remember. That's what we were paid to do. We were
Yeah.
paid to not be on camera,
Yeah.
and that's fine. That's our role, right? We don't. That's exactly what we signed up for, and that's exactly what we did. So that's what I was saying earlier. The fact that they actually showed them on camera in an episode, that is super huge of them. Like that. Like I can't thank Netflix and the production company and Mike Coy enough.
Yeah.
That was a super cool thing for them to do for us. So.
And
Like,
you guys
dude,
were
they-
able to wear your Bent shirts.
Yeah,
They- we
we
were-
we signed off. We signed off on it that they could use it, and so it was cool. Like to see Mike wearing the shirt,
Yeah.
and it's like blasted all like big on the TV.
Thanks,
you know?
Mike.
It's like people are gonna see that. I don't know what it's gonna do, but you know, it's notoriety of something. You know, but
And
I
how
thought that
did
was
they
cool.
have you guys labeled on the show? It's Jake 1 and Jake 2 or other Jake?
No, I think it's Jake Russo, and then it says race car fabricator or
Fabricator,
whatever,
yeah.
and then it says other Jake race car fabricator.
So funny.
They get us. They totally get us. So let's talk about Tony Tuesdays. We had another one, and I think we had double the amount of people show up,
Yeah.
which was
Easy.
super sick. Thank you, everybody who showed up. That was amazing. This next one's going to be even better. Nick hooked us up with this last one and had his dad's a band come over and play. So there was a live band inside.
good.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
were really
we
good.
It
won't
was
be able
so
to-
good.
Yeah, Nick is he's been on the podcast before. He drove with Curtis in the Samurai. It's his Samurai that drove in the King of the Hammer. So that's the Nick we're talking about. And then we can't lock those guys down every time, but every once in a while we'll try to get them there. But this next time we're going to have music out in the parking lot, at least where we're at. And we'll lay it out a little bit different. For those of you who've been there the last couple of times, we'll do it a little bit different. The next one's July 11th.
Yep.
And we'll have some music, and we're actually going to raffle some things off, and we're going to have some giveaways and just some more fun interactive stuff versus just hanging out and eating pizza and drinking beer. We're going to actually have some cool, fun stuff to give away. So if you make it to the next one, there's a chance you might win a prize.
And we're going to announce
was just
a
gonna say that.
top secret event. You're going to have to pay attention to some very elusive updates, but I think
Yes.
Tony's is maybe the first time we'll touch on our top secret.
Yeah, and if you're not following us on Instagram,
I don't
should-
even know what it is, and I work here.
it's so top
Touch it, and
secret.
it made it that much better.
It's
Yeah.
so secret.
Yeah, it's so secret. We don't
It's
even
gonna be
talk to
rad.
Jake about it. Jake's got loose lips.
He's like, you look at
Don't
him
look at me.
thinking
They
about
sink
it.
chips.
I'm trying to think of what it is. I don't even know.
You know.
But we'll announce that, and that's going to be super fun.
I don't think he knows.
Isn't
They're
it?
never gonna know.
This is what you get for only being here a week and gone a week. Here a week,
Yeah,
gone
I
a
know,
week. Here a
I
week,
know.
gone a
You
week.
can thank Netflix for that.
Yeah.
It's really
But
inconvenient.
yeah, this past Tony Tuesdays was like a whole party, dude. Just a different vibe all around. We had people bringing like their own cornhole setup to like play games out in
Yeah.
the parking
Okay,
lot.
that was Brian, dude. He brought his
Yeah.
limo,
Yeah.
his freaking
So
limo,
sick.
and then he had
What
cornhole
Brian?
set up. Huh?
Brian?
Yeah, Brian. Kate.
Baja, Brian.
Yeah, Baja Brian.
Oh,
Cage
remember we-
racing.
Yeah,
Huh?
Cage racing.
Yeah, cage racing.
Yeah.
right?
That's
Cage
so
racing.
funny.
Yeah, he flew in a limo, dude. Then we had a contest where
That's
we wanted to
pimpin'.
see how many people did we get in the limo.
16.
16?
16
No,
people
it
in
was
the limo.
totally more than that.
Just
it?
in,
I
just
think
in the
for
back.
sure it was 19 if you count the 3 people in the front row.
Oh, I didn't
Oh,
count
yeah,
the
yeah,
front. The back was 16.
So our goal next time, Brian, bring the limo. We got to get 20 people in there. There was tons of room between our knees and the headliner. So I think if we shoveled people in straight, we could get at least 25.
We didn't do the trunk either.
And we didn't do the trunk. We could do 30 easy.
Yeah, if anyone wants to put their child in the trunk of a limo,
Yeah.
we can
This
make
is
that
all
happen.
about the numbers.
Brian bought a good vibe. They, minus the cornhole, he, is part of the Baja Designs family. He's just super energetic, positive person. And he came by and was like, hey, this is like more rad than I thought. I'm bringing people next time. With that, I think that we should maybe build his limo up a little bit He's
I
got
for
these.
sure want to pimp his limo out.
I
He's
want
got
a
these rad
Bent limo
horns
build.
on the hood that needs some like
You know what he needs?
LP4s or something.
And I talked to him
under
about
them.
this. He needs to turn it into an overlander, and we got to put 2 rooftop tents on it.
Oh, my
yeah.
God.
That would
That'd
be-
be so funny.
That would be sick though.
but he did tell me some things he wants to do, which I'm not going to spoil for him because I don't know if it's a surprise. But he's got some plans for that thing.
Yeah.
So I know that I definitely want to help him build that because I think it's super sick. I think it's just
He's also racing. He doesn't race
oh yeah,
moto
he's got a
anymore.
race coming up though.
He's got a race coming up in Glen Helen. Tech is on July 7th, and then qual on the 8th, and racing on the 9th. So
And what class, what vehicles he running?
I think the class 9.
I don't know.
Sorry, Brian.
How do you remember that and not something so stupid and minute?
What's minute mean?
Yeah,
It's just a fancy.
Is
way
that
to
like
say
a music
minute.
symbol?
Yeah.
Point and case.
But
It's a French way to say
curious.
minute.
But I'm super stoked about it because
Like,
It's
got
just-
dates and
it's-
times locked down. And
I
I'm
do.
like,
I have to. Every, I
You guys
remember
got to
the
know,
numbers.
Kevin's a Marine. He speaks to us in Marine language constantly. Everything is a fucking acronym, and there's no such thing as a time that doesn't have the word 100 in it.
I mean, kind of true.
What time is it? 100,
you know what
100,
we call midnight?
AFPCTT5. What?
We call midnight balls. Balls?
Balls?
Yeah.
Balls?
Balls.
Balls.
Yeah.
B
Like balls
A
30.
L
If
L
it's
S.
midnight 30, balls 30.
Oh, you talk like someone from Philly. That's right.
Water.
But
Balls.
yeah, so the
Balls.
acronyms
Got
and
it.
talking
Down at the harbor, I
very
was scratching my balls.
specific helicopter components is more
Jesus
my lingo.
Christ.
But anyway, Brian's racing, super stoked about it. Hopefully he podiums and we can come back with some good stories. So,
Hey,
And-
let's start. We're done with that now. Because I just had a thought. I had a thought, and I have to run with it, or else
Stop
I'll fuck it up.
Stop talking.
I want to talk about this 392 we're building.
yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
So Jake's been on this 392 build. Super fun. Family
so clean.
brought us this brand new 392 Rubicon Recon.
Extreme Recon.
Extreme Recon.
Yeah.
Like this is like the top of the line Jeep they sell right now.
And
Brand
it's
new.
red. and
Like
I
it
like
smells.
red Jeeps.
Like you can still smell the paint. Like it's so new, right?
Did they drive it from the dealership to us?
Literally.
Because
I think
about.
it's got paper plates on it.
literally like
Yeah.
Probably.
And they want to do everything, right? So we're building this big Jeep, and without getting totally into, I mean, other than the fact that it's super fun for us to, wrench on brand new stuff.
I had to drill holes in it.
Oh,
Like
dude,
in the tailgate, like brand new paint, and you're just sitting there going, "This doesn't even feel wrong." It's just like nerve wracking if it's just like, "Oh God, it's scratched."
yeah, I don't even care. I'll drill right through it. I'll use a sawzall. I don't even care.
I
Just-
felt the same way putting like 19 holes into that Gladiator the other day in
Yeah.
the truck bed. I was like, I don't want to do this, dude. It feels wrong.
Yeah, it feels wrong, but what we noticed on this one, and we found out on the 392s from the past ones that we've done, is they come with 373 gears, right?
Was it 373s or 410s?
Or is it 410? No, I think they're 373s.
No, it might have been 370. Because I know I want to say the Eco Diesels also come with either 373s or 410s because they have the torque to get it going. You don't
Yeah,
need
it's
all
something
the gear
about
ratio.
how much. Well, yeah, and it's something also about how much power it's putting down, right?
Yeah.
And so that tells me that Jeep is trying to mitigate damage,
I think
right?
so.
Like this engine is so much power and so much torque that if we put in the right gears and it hooks up on the street, they could break an axle, right? Well, when this one came in, this is the first Extreme Recon Rubicon 392 we've worked on, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And we noticed in the front, anybody who has a JL knows that the front axle has the axle cutout.
They call it the FAD, front axle disconnect.
Yeah, front axle disconnect. And a lot of companies have come out with FAD deletes, where you can take the two little axles that are in the front right side of the front axle, delete them, remove the little motor and electronic setup, and slide in one solid like chromoly axle in there, right? And turn it into one.
Normal.
The only reason they do that is for fuel economy, right? That with the front drive shaft and nothing's going to spin during the
The worst.
driving down the road, right? So you're spinning less equipment, so you're getting better fuel economy.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the old days back when you used to have to get out and lock the hubs, but yet you can. Now Jeep did this back in the '90s for their YJs. They had a vacuum
it's not
actuated one.
It's not a new thing.
Yeah, so it's not a new thing. They just brought it back, and it's clearly for fuel economy. And Without getting into the politics of that, I'm sure they've got to have a certain balance of overall average fuel economy for their fleet of vehicles they make in order to
Yeah.
qualify to sell in the United States, right? That's a whole other podcast. But
Is it possible that that's a California specific thing?
no,
I
it's
don't think
federal.
so. It's-
'Cause
yeah.
a lot of manufacturers are doing stuff like that nowadays, like where there's a California specific production model for shit. But
Well, yeah, and I'm sure there's California has a huge influence on this because they're the biggest influencer for
Oh,
the
yeah.
smog and everything. But what we found to get to the bottom line here was that this 392 Extreme Recon Rubicon came with a delete in it already from Mopar.
Yeah.
So even Mopar is saying, "Hey, our engine's so powerful, we're going to throw
You're gonna-
373s
you're
in
gonna
it,
bust an
and
intermediate
we're going to
shaft."
delete this fad because we don't want you to break a front axle."
wow.
So they're deleting it straight from the factory.
Wow.
It's got a weird, like, there's a ton of stuff on there that, not that I haven't seen before, but it's just different. Like, I know a lot of the Gladiators, maybe it's the Mojaves and a couple other ones, they have like the heavy duty M210 and M220 axles, which has like a way bigger housing. Like the
Right.
housing itself is bigger. On top of that, they have like steel knuckles instead of the aluminum ones. A lot of the JLs got aluminum knuckles.
Well, you know what I noticed on this one, though? This one has the CV front shafts.
It does, and that's what I was confused about too. It's not a regular U-joint; it's like a CV shaft.
Yeah, because we did a conversion the other day. Was it on a JL or a Gladiator? It was a JL where we took the aluminum knuckles off, right? And we put on
ones.
Reed
Yeah,
racing ones. And the guy was worried that the aluminum ones were going to fail. I haven't looked at this one. Does this one have aluminum
it's
knuckles?
steel knuckles.
So it's steel knuckles.
Yeah.
So it's got the steel knuckles on this one, which we like, but it has the CV front axle, which
Yeah.
I don't have any opinion on, really. In all honesty, I don't know.
I've never actually had like firsthand experience with them braking. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
look at RCV; they're all CV axles.
Yeah, exactly.
right?
So
Like-
maybe that's the setup with the new Jeeps, the Mopars, is that's the trick setup because it's essentially like an RCV, maybe.
Yeah.
But RCVs are actually super strong. I don't know how strong these Mopar ones are, but it's still too early in the game for us. We haven't seen any brake. I mean, I'm sure there's
Yeah.
guys out there breaking stuff that know, but I mean, we just personally haven't seen it yet.
So there was a lot of other things too with spacing. So like the rear track bar, for instance, normally when we get a Jeep in, you do like a 3 or 4 inch lift. You put like a track bar lift bracket on where it relocates the track bar, whatever, 3 inches up higher. So it makes it more parallel, geometry's corrected, whatever. And this one, I tried to bolt on, we did an Evo kit on it, and you try and bolt on the Evo one, and it's like, that's not even close to fitting. And then I
Yeah.
called Evo not knowing, and he goes, no, man, you don't have to run that. Those things, what was the other one? Anything with like Extreme Recon or like a high tide that comes with like the nice beadlock wheels or like faux beadlock wheels, those all have like the beefier, like
Yeah.
stepped up brackets already. And I think it's like they're factory lifted,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
And so that's why. But
Yeah,
it's
and
kind
by
of a
the way,
trip.
those wheels we took off of that thing with the factory beadlocks, pretty trick the way
Yeah, it
Mopar is sending those things out. They've got like a beauty ring on it, which only got 10 or whatever, 8, 2, 4,
think
6,
I think it was 10.
10 bolts that hold the ring on, right? So it's a simulated beadlock. But then if you take that ring off, there's a beadlock
like knurled beadlock area.
beadlock area with whatever it is, 24 bolt holes or whatever that. And then you just buy the Mopar beadlock ring and you remount the tire like a beadlock and put the ring on, and now you got beadlock. So Jeep's like, hey, look, we know y'all want beadlocks, but we're not allowed to sell a car and let it drive off the road because they're not DOT legal. Beadlocks are not DOT legal. So here's a regular old wheel, but then you can remount it the proper way and buy the rings, and bang, you got beadlocks.
Not only
Yeah.
the functionality, but aesthetically, they are
They're
sick
looking
Yeah,
wheels.
they're
They
good-looking
are
wheels,
They
right?
don't look bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Recon
Yeah.
wheels are good-looking wheels. So, super cool I like the stuff that Jeep's doing. Like, I really do. I know the aftermarket guys out there who are selling aftermarket wheels are like, stop it. But whatever, dude. I
That's
dig
such a small margin though. Like the people that actually like seek out these wheels and or like get a vehicle and just stay with these wheels.
Yeah.
Every single Jeep that we get in here gets aftermarket wheels of
Yeah.
KMC, Method, Walker, whatever it may be.
Yeah, but
Because
if-
everyone wants that different look.
it. Yeah, but if I
You
bought a
know?
392 and I switched them to beadlocks, everybody else changed their shit. I'd be the only guy with the factory wheel.
Yeah. They're trick looking. I think it's just the beginning, really. I mean, all the stuff that's on there. There's even stupid stuff that like I don't think the normal person understands of like why Jeeps are so easy to do this to is there's sensors for, let's say, the lockers. When you go under there and you lift one of these vehicles, there's not enough wire for us to like droop the suspension out far enough to like, and that wire stretches. So what did Jeep do? They have wire there ready to use, but there's just a zip tie like holding more of
Right.
it up to the frame so
literally
that
cut the zip tie.
So you cut the zip tie and now it hangs down another 6 inches. Like, I don't know any other company that does that on purpose, obviously on purpose, because they know people are gonna like immediately put a 3 or 4 inch
Yes.
lift on this thing. Like
Yes.
it's stuff like that I don't think people even understand. Like, it's just stupid things, but it makes a difference for us. It makes a difference for everyone that I don't have to like rewire sensors
Yep.
right off the bat,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's Jeep's really thinking it through. They really are thinking it through.
Yeah.
Every model they come out with, they're answering, demand from their customers.
Yeah.
Customers say, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? I mean, I think the next year,
It'll be 2028, right? We're only halfway through this generation.
yeah, but I mean, I'm saying the next model year of Recon is going to have an option for an onboard air, I think.
Really?
Yeah. Just,
Yeah, so now you won't even have to go get a compressor put in so you can air up your tires. Like you can get that with an optional onboard air.
Kind of surprised they haven't done that already, to be honest.
Yeah.
It seems like a pretty legit
Or at
thing.
least an option. Like-
I don't know if you could pay another $800 to get an onboard air system. It's the same price as getting an ARB installed. You know.
Yeah, and I don't know which package it is, but I know that it's going to be an option. And there was a few other weird things that were going to be options where you're like, oh damn, like if I just go down to Jeep and if I'm willing to pay for it, right? If I'm willing to pay for it, I can get the Hemi, I can get the Recon, Rubicon with lockers and an onboard air and and the list goes on and on. Bead locks, like
You can get a
You're
winch
making-
on it. You don't
You're
got
making monthly payments, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
roll
Like,
it into financing.
roll
Yeah.
it in.
That's
The
crazy.
other thing that we did on this that I thought was really cool was the headliner deal. What was that called? You remember the name of it?
It was like hardcore.
Hothead?
No,
Hothead.
hothead. headliners.
Hothead headliners,
Yeah.
and they're like carpeted. What'd you do?
A
Why
new
does my chair do this?
a new chair for you
It's-
really is not in
I
the
wouldn't
media budget.
say.
No.
We're
It's
going
not
to
in the
start a
budget for a
count
new
on
chair?
podcast when it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
How is
we're
it
gonna
that you
start
guys
a
That's going to be
tally.
another secret discount code.
We're gonna have a GoFundMe for
Discount code.
David's
David is
podcast
fat.
chair.
10% of the proceeds will go to a new chair for
Yeah.
Davey.
Come on, guys.
So we
Please hit
put,
subscribe so I can get another chair. Thank you.
Yeah, if you're not already, please subscribe.
gotta throw that out there. We did these. They were called Hothead headliners, and like Jeeps are just fiberglass tops. Those things get hot as shit in the summertime. Like
they?
I've driven out from Havasu, and literally you can just feel the heat on your head because it's like 115 outside.
Is that what that's for? Because I was watching you put that on and was
Yeah.
kind of wondering,
Yeah.
like, what is the purpose of that?
So
It's for noise too, but it's not. Dude.
Yeah.
It's strictly for heat.
yeah.
because you think of it, you're in like literally a fiberglass box, you know?
Yeah.
And so
A toaster.
obviously, yeah, sound reverberates inside, all that stuff. But like on top of that, like these ones are specific. They have like almost a household insulation on them on the inside. And so it's this like foil looking strip on the backside where you don't see it. And then on the side that you do see, it's all like nice like material whatever it is, like padding.
Yeah.
And so it was relatively easy. I don't know how much the kits are, but I'm a big fan. I put a bed rug kit in mine, and it made a difference as far as like sound goes, but I don't know how much of a difference it made with like heat stuff. But having that like foil, like radiant stuff on the inside, I'm sure
looks
makes a
good, too.
huge
It
difference.
fits,
Yeah,
like,
it looks
perfect.
It looks
super
really
nice.
good, yeah.
Fit and finish was on point. Not like we're getting any money to say this, but like it's a nice product. You know, I like talking about things that I would buy myself.
Right.
So
Honestly,
Speaking about buying things, we do have a website that sells things. So if anybody's looking for things you want to buy, then go to our website and buy them.
You can get all of them for 10% off.
Yeah, 10% off.
we
What's
get
the
Hothead
code
headliners?
for? It's at Cutwater 10.
It's a podcast specific code. It's called Cutwater 10.
Yep.
It's
Put
10
that
off.
in at checkout and you get 10% off.
There's no apparel on the website. I don't know why.
There's no apparel.
Yeah, like I had a few people who wanted to buy t-shirts, and I was like, sorry.
So my son is off camera heckling us.
You've seen him walk across the
Yeah,
camera.
he's
a couple
walked right in
times.
front of the
It's him.
camera twice during this podcast. But
Not a
luckily,
big
Carlos
Look at his
has
smile.
been sleek enough to make it through the tripod without knocking it over. Yes, apparel is not on there yet, but we are going to get apparel. There he is. But we're going to get apparel on there.
Put the glasses on first.
Rapidito. We're going to have stickers on
Yeah,
there.
show the steez.
We need a close up.
So keep checking back on it. We'll get that stuff on there.
There it is.
There's Micah.
There he is.
Sponsored
Give
by
him a little side shot.
Micah.
There's my
There
6
you go.
foot tall 14-year-old.
Daughter.
Wait, you can't have this on the podcast. I can't do that.
No.
So we also want to, since we were talking about, I think the 392, what I was trying to get into was the gearing, because we're not going to change the gearing on that right away. We're going to let them drive it,
392.
the 392,
Yeah.
and we'll do some freeway testing ourselves and just see what we think.
It's getting 40s.
Yeah, we put 40s.
But we're
on it,
putting 40-inch tires on it, so I'm pretty sure we're going to at least go to 410s for him. But I think we're going to let them go wheel it a couple times first, and then we'll do the gears on it. But
Dude, if gearing isn't like your wheelhouse, I don't know what is. Because I've
For
watched
real.
you do a few sets of gears since I've been here, and dude, it's like watching someone do something. He might as well have his eyes closed.
It's a mad scientist.
It's not even calculated. Like, that's not even an accurate comparison, because you have just such a fluid way of doing gears. I find to be so impressive. Like, dude, you look like you got 8
Yeah,
arms.
what are you doing to him right
No,
now?
I mean it.
Jeez, just
I
pump
really
my
mean
ego
it.
up.
No, I mean
But
it.
also, don't
Yeah.
interrupt that process.
Yeah, dude.
Either.
That process is so OCD driven. Like, you don't even know. You know what I mean? Like, if you have OCD, just try it, because it's like hand in hand with just needing to like nerd out on something. You know?
well, and the funny thing is, and Jake and I have done enough gears where the first time you start doing them, you're getting every piece of measuring equipment out that you have, and you're measuring you're getting all these numbers, and you're writing them on the table, and you're carrying the two, and you're doing
then you
all
sit there, you go, did I put that shim in or that shim in? Oh God, what one did I put in? You have like 18 shims laid out on the table, just going, oh God, which one do I need? You know?
Yeah, and then you get to a point where you've done enough JKs, or you've done enough JLs, or you've done enough TJ rear ends, Dana 44s, whatever, where you're like, I know exactly where I need to start. When I take this out, I'm taking out a 373 and I'm putting in a 456. And I've done a million of these, so I know I need to go immediately to this shim. And you end up doing it, and you put it in, and you check all your stuff, and you're like, ooh,
Yeah. Ooh, we're onto something here.
that was super close. And then
Yeah.
because of how close it is and the way the pattern looks, you know exactly what shim to put in. And then you're like, okay, I'm done, right? And whereas if you've never done them before,
That's a roundabout way, by the way. It takes a lot longer than just that. But
no, it takes a lot longer. I mean, but in all honesty, usually the tear down to get to the point where you're doing the gears, and then to put back together when you're done, usually would
That
take
consumes-
less time.
yeah.
And then doing the actual gears would take the longest. But then after you've done a bunch of them, the gear part of it's like the quick, easy part.
yeah.
See, I'm scared to do it, and it's kind of funny and not really relevant to this podcast, so yell at me later, but we have to shim swash plates on helicopters with upper and lower shims, friction collet sets, certain ranges, pull resistance on each corner. And it's like, you do the gears on these things. I can do it in my fucking sleep. I've
Yeah.
been doing it for over a decade.
Yeah.
But jumping on one of these things, I'm like, I don't.
Yeah,
really
I don't think I wanna
I don't
do
think I wanna do that. You know?
Then you got Martin down there at Monster Miata, who does all the rear ends for his Monster Miatas.
He does 8.8s are a really common diff or axle for like XJs and stuff like that. But they also made an independent rear suspension version of that, which is what he puts in Miatas.
They would be
He
in the old,
retrofits
they would
that.
be in like the
T-Birds?
T-Birds, yeah.
Yeah. So
But he just does it by feel. Like, that fucker doesn't pull out any micrometers,
that's
nothing.
nuts.
He just
he
closes
sits there
his
and
eyes and goes.
he holds the
goes,
backlash.
"It's good."
Okay, yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, dude. Is it good? Is it really good? Let's paint it. And he's like, it's fine, perfect. We'll
Yeah.
paint it. Oh, it's perfect. Put him up. Yeah, it's perfect.
That Martin does
Yeah.
this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but and he
Wow.
does it after like 16 Bud Lights too.
Yeah, it's probably better after too. Like the further he
He's
goes
got
in.
to get that flow, man.
Dude,
Just feel that vibe.
have you seen his beer crusher? He's got like
Yeah.
a fully
Yeah.
motorized beer can
It's
crusher
a
down
pneumatic.
Motorized?
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pneumatic?
I think it was pneumatic.
I don't know. Can I just get a different
Or maybe
angle on
electric.
this? Forget the beer crusher for a second. I always used to say, like, we'd go bowling just as friends. Like, I'd get to my friends together. Hey, let's go bowling. We'd go bowling and we'd shit the bed, right? Like, what's the good score in bowling? 200?
I would say
200,
anything
good God.
close to
I mean, that's-
100 is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, see?
If you're not in the gutter every other ball, I think you're doing all right.
I think like a perfect game is like 200.
It's 300.
Perfect game is
It's 300?
Yeah.
300.
Okay, so 200, that's what we say. If you bowled a 200 or better, you need to find another fucking hobby because you just literally are living at the bowling alley and drinking and getting way too good at it. So it's like as soon as you get as good as Martin is at doing gears, he needs to mix it up. He needs to find something new to
It's
do.
like Call of
Martin,
Duty.
go do something else.
It's like Call of Duty, you know, when you prestige, you know, like that's the thing. Like
Time
you
for a new
prestige,
game,
you go
man.
right back to square one.
But what
Time
if
for a
he's
new
happy?
game. I don't give a fuck
Nobody's
if Martin's
happy.
Time to start making all-wheel drive Miatas.
Ooh,
Like
there we go.
I want to be like impressed that like we're good at doing that, but I'm like, maybe we
Do you
just,
do it enough times? It's
it's
just
just fucking
mindless.
repetition, man. I need to do something else.
I remember when I don't know how fast I did it, but it was like just a gear job where everything went good, and I was like, "Cool, sounds good." Wait, we're done. Like I'm looking at the clock, like, wow, that was fast, you know. And you get to the point where like you know every tool that you need. We have like our little axle bench that has all the tooling there, so it's just like mindless, you know. You're like, cool, everything's like within arm's reach.
Yeah.
You know.
But don't worry, we charge full price even if we got done
I was
early.
gonna say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Don't tell them
Because
that.
it's done really well.
Yeah, he will not have to get it redone.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing too, right? You know, here we have a pretty tight tolerance on the way we do our gears, which is more than I can say for some. We've literally got axles straight from Dana, crate axles that are bolt in. They just have to bolt in, and you look at the paint pattern on it. We just check them just cause, right? And we're like, ooh, like I would not send that axle out with that paint pattern. So then it makes me question myself, like if Dana
we
thinks
doing
it's
too
okay,
much?
are we going too far? Are we being too picky? Dana says this is okay. They shipped it to us like this. Somebody in QC went, that's fine, right? But then I think, no,
Do you receive it with paint on it? Or
yes.
Oh.
Yeah, they'll paint them and you can see them.
Oh.
There's some dude named Gilbert that's just slamming out 100 of these things a day, just going, nah, that one's fine. Send it.
So that's what I think, right? Like there's just some guy who's like, it's fine,
16
it's
Bud
fine.
Lights in.
You know? And I think we do. I think gears are a lot more durable than, you know, and it's not black magic. It's not like some crazy thing. It's just gears are gears, right? If they're close, they're going to work.
I would
right?
love to
but
do
we like to make them like two
as
spec,
close-
like
as close as we can
perfect,
get
right?
to
Like
good.
that's because I do not want you guys coming back to me and going, yeah, this didn't work. You know, I want it to be spot on.
Well,
so.
then, like when you mess something up with gears, it's a long time to fix. It's not like a brake pad where you can just like pull a wheel off, put a new brake pad on, and like you're back on the road in like 20 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
no,
Oh.
it's like a whole half day tear down, and then we got to order parts, and then you got to replace the bearing, then you got to press this off, and
You know what? I just thought of something. Talking this through with you guys, I just thought of something. When we do a set of gears, the gears that we use are not hardened.
no.
So when we do the set of gears, we want them to be so absolutely perfect so that because you've got to break in the gears. And if you break in those gears properly, then they're going to last a long time, right? The crate axles we get from Dana come with pre-hardened ring and pinions, so there's no break-in period. So maybe the pattern is close enough on a pre-hardened ring and pinion that it won't matter because they don't have to be broken in,
That could
Tolerance
be it.
is less. So,
right? Maybe
yeah.
that's it. I'm just trying to, you know,
I wish
think it through and defend
I wish we had
Dana
the
in this
time.
situation.
Yeah. I wish we had the time and resources to like set an axle up to a really bad setting, right? Like go not
Let's do it
over
on
the
like
top.
Curtis's XJ.
Yeah, we'll try that out.
Donate mine too. Either way,
Yeah.
we'll do it.
And we'll try it out and just see what the characteristics are of it. You
How
know,
long
like,
before it vibrates? How long before whatever?
Like, is it just gonna nuke a bearing in like 1,000 miles, or are you gonna get more out of it? Like, obviously that's a really weird thing to want, but it's like, dude, for the matter of like science, I just want to see what it's all
Well,
about.
like we always say, right? Get your own data.
Yeah.
So legit, we have an XJ that is sitting in front of someone's house that you guys can try to break whatever you want.
No, because then you're just gonna go. Well, you broke it. You got to
Yeah.
get me a new one.
We'll try that with Blake's Jeep before we rebuild it.
Yeah.
We'll paint
Yeah.
mark his and see what it's at now.
Actually, that's a super good idea. That's like a good little
Yeah.
like science project.
Because I'd love to see where it's at now. I've had some that come in where it's like,
How'd you get
how,
here?
dude? There's like shims falling out of it and stuff, and you're just like, this guy drove quite a bit with this.
Let's
Yeah.
Yeah,
let's
we're
get
gonna
into
do
that.
gears for Blake, right? Because he's gonna be
Yeah.
out of town or something. Doesn't have time to do something, and he's gonna let us do it for him.
Yeah, so our buddy Blake Wilkie, right up the hill from us, he's got an XJ, right? And it's
What do they call that one? Dirt Shark? No.
Hammerhead.
Hammerhead.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, he built that on like a YouTube series with Miller and Michael Cox and
It's all the Hoonigan boys.
yeah,
Well.
a few years ago, and he's gotten a ton of really good use out of it. It's supposed to be like kind of like a budget, like quick build thing, but it turned out to be like a
pretty
pretty
sick.
rad little little Jeep. So he's gotten a lot of good hours out of that thing, but finally starting to need some love.
Yeah.
So
Dude, he has driven the shit out of that thing.
I finally watched the episode because I think when that series all first came out, I watched them like build. But then for some reason I got distracted and never watched them actually drive them. They drove the piss out of it. Like I was watching it just going like, dude, this looks fast on camera, which means I can only imagine what that is in real life, you
Yeah.
know?
Hey, look, there's a recipe
but-
for picante queso dip right here.
But they're holding
Save that for later.
But are they?
like what, like 1,000 gallons probably?
But are they?
didn't-
I
think
we
of
have
it.
no idea. We were just guessing.
welcome back to the ADHD podcast.
That is
Welcome
really
back to the-
But we
interesting.
do love everything
Off-road aviation
mechanical
podcast.
and motorized.
'Cause
And
it's
this is the
interesting, dude.
conversations that
What
we
It
are
have.
is.
you
It actually
doing?
is.
I went through probably 100 plus gallons of fuel going to Moab.
Picante queso dip.
Like-
Yeah, give me that. I took that off. That's mine.
can't.
Wait, with wheeling?
I don't know. I
Monterey
don't know the
Jack?
actual number,
was
but
like,
it must have
good
been
God.
a lot.
Imbeciles.
Can I have another chip, please?
All right.
All right, so since we're, thank you.
All right, so enough about the birds.
I'm sweating.
The
I just
big-
thought that they were way more
Well,
fuel
it's hot.
efficient than I thought they were going to be. So hats off to helicopter builders.
the government.
No, the government didn't
Yeah,
make the fucking
definitely not, dude.
helicopters. Who
Absolutely
makes the
fucking not.
Boeing, Northrop? Who makes the ones you work
Dude,
on?
Bell.
Military
okay,
industrial complex. Those
Fucking
guys.
dumb.
Bell, dude. I got a story about Bell. So my
Go
wife
ahead.
Shelly,
Go ahead.
her cousin went to Stanford, and he was a swimmer for Stanford, and he was going to go to the Olympics for swimming.
Wow.
And back then, because I'm old, back then you would get a sponsor to help you fund the process of being an Olympian. And the gentleman that funded her cousin was Mr. Bell.
ASMR.
Okay?
Like,
The Bell from Bell Helicopter, the guy.
oh, I thought you were talking about like Alexander Graham.
No. I'm not
Way
that
older.
old.
Different
I mean, I'm like George Washington old. Right, that's even older. Maybe not.
Dude, you can see on the Delaware, where Curtis and I are from, you could see the old Delaware River crossing
I don't care.
reenactments.
So
it's really sick.
Nerds, dude.
It's really sick.
You can
Nerds.
see that just here in California. Never mind. Sorry.
But not
Move
where
on.
he actually
There's a really cool
crossed.
place up in by Big Bear where you can see reenactments of Cool War stuff. I went
Wrong
there.
coast,
Let's
sister.
Okay, let me
move
finish
on.
my story.
It's got a story.
So he
Story.
goes on, gets sponsored by Mr. Bell, does the Olympics, medals, great time, good, perfect. Later on, he's going to get married. They decide to have the wedding at Mr. Bell's house because he has this beautiful house up near Stanford in the Bay Area. And we get invited to it. And so we're looking at the address for this place. And I swear to God, the address was like 1, Montgomery Place. And you're like, 1? Like, who the fuck has an address 1? Like, this has got to be a misprint, right? So we get to this beautiful gated community, right? And we drive in, and here's this beautiful, beautiful mansion of a home. Lots of land, too, right? It's got, it's a beautiful home. And it's literally 1, right? I'm like, okay, this
Can
guy
you
lives in house
imagine?
number
Dude.
1, this is amazing. So we go and I find out it's Mr. Bell's house, and the guy was super nice. He's like giving us tours of, he had this room that just had TVs everywhere that were monitoring like weather and avionics and all this other stuff. Like he's super helicopter guy, right? And I noticed he had some San Francisco football memorabilia in cabinets. I'm like, oh, this is cool. He's like, oh yeah, this is Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice, right? That was the
Yeah.
wide receiver for San Francisco.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh yeah. Jerry Rice signed that. And da-da-da. I'm like, oh, that's rad. That's cool that you got that. He goes, yeah, he's my neighbor. He just he just threw it over the fence at me one day, and I'm like, sick. That's cool. So he lives in 2. And he goes, yeah, 2. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I am fucking poor.
Yeah, that is such a rich person problem.
Oh my God, dude. And it was just kind of a fun, cool experience. And, Shelly's cousin got to go to the Olympics, and they're good friends. And so that's my Bell story, because I got to
That's right.
to hang out at the Bell House or one of his houses for an evening.
Yeah.
So
We're waiting for this, but we went to that wedding here in San Marcos, and the family that had the wedding they're super cool people, but very wealthy room. Like when you were sitting down to eat, there was some big wigs in there, and people that like were private plane owners and just like you name it. And so the dad comes up and he gives this whole speech on, so happy to have this kid in our family, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, it takes a village to raise people. And he goes, you got bankers, you got real estate agents in here. Like, we're all here to help. He goes, hell, there's even like McDonald's and Taco Bell right there, like at that table. And like, I'm pretty sure these people like legitimately own like
McDonald's. It wasn't the guy that works at McDonald's. This guy owns 17 McDonald's.
Yeah, it was like that. That wasn't the
banner flipper.
I'm just like, no, there's legitimate like big time people in here. Like this isn't a joke either. Like this dude's dead on,
Yeah, it's weird being like, growing up poor and living a very moderate, poor, whatever lifestyle, and then hanging around people who are like ultra rich, right?
Can I interrupt you really quick?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Did you grow up rich? I'm
no,
sorry.
I was gonna say, can we just have like a hard like, hi guys, sorry, Kevin's camera died, and then just continue what you're saying, so
Oh, yeah.
we can actually like get.
Sorry about that, guys. Kevin's camera died because I don't know.
Kevin.
I guess it maxes out at an hour. It's recording again.
Kevin, God.
So whatever. We're back on now, and hopefully you got a little glimpse of Carlos's tail wagging during the off time.
All right, so back to the Blake Weekly. Whoa.
Yeah. Let's talk
So
about.
let's,
are we talking about Blake
let's
again?
start again.
The
thought
Blake
we-
Weekly thing.
You go
I
back
thought
to
you
poor
were telling
people.
a cool story.
Baja chicken nachos on this side. I didn't even notice that one.
Did you say Blake Weekly?
Yeah, I did.
Like weekly. That's
These
his-
things are what? 12.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I
Okay.
eat
Son
today?
of a. Oh,
Baja
you're gonna
chicken
get it in the
nachos.
connection.
I feel like we should like start again.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
down.
I agree.
He's
I
down.
just hit my knee on this goddamn thing.
This is gonna be so much fun to edit.
Dude, if you don't leave this in, then what's the point of me hurting myself?
I'll leave it in. I'm
I'm
just
sweating
saying.
more now.
That's what she said.
All right, so
Sweating
let's-
more now, or I'll leave it in.
I'll leave it in.
I'm sweating so hard right now.
Feed me immediately.
Okay. I'm just gonna give you. I'm not putting it
Your
in your
hands
mouth
are
this
so
time.
dirty.
I didn't want you to stop telling your story. I just meant like
I don't even remember what story I was telling.
about
Rich people.
growing up not rich and meeting people who are rich.
Yes, and then okay, so we always when you're growing up, you always had that friend who maybe lived in Palos
point at
Verdes,
me.
right? He knows. He grew up in Palos Verdes. He knows.
Where is even that?
It's Palos
You don't have to worry
Verdes.
about
Palo
it.
Verde, it's like freaking
You said
Silicon
it.
Valley.
No. It's okay. So you have
Palo
Long
Alto,
Beach
I
on
think.
you have
Oh,
Long
Palo
Beach
Alto.
on this side, and you have Hermosa Beach on this side.
Oh, it's somewhere near.
and then
Long
you have a
Beach.
big fucking cliff that
Smack dab
overlooks
in
the
the middle.
ocean, and that's where all the rich people live. It's right on top, right?
Wow.
So, but you have like we all had that one friend who was maybe the richest one
Oh,
of all,
yeah.
right? And you go to their house and you're like, oh, this is rad. But then one day you meet like a real rich person, right? And then you're like, oh shit, this is totally different, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, you meet a real rich person. You go, oh shit, this is way different, right? It's just crazy. The more you meet people, the more that you realize that I am fucking super poor.
But
Dude, I
dude,
like.
Like, how do I exist?
I clean pools for a living. Okay, I see Ranch
Blue
Santa
collar.
Fe to Escondido.
Yeah. well,
Both sides. Ranch Santa Fe. These people. It is insane. Seeing
It's
the
crazy.
The pools alone are $2 million just to build the pool. Like
it's so rad,
That's
though.
insane.
What's even more rad is when you meet someone who's ultra rich and they're just as real
Normal,
and
dude.
humble
Yes.
as
And I'll be
us.
honest
A
with
lot
you,
of them
all,
are.
all the ones that I've met have been.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't
Yeah.
know. Like, they're super cool. And one day, hopefully, I'll, be a rich guy too. But be honest with you, I'm probably going to be a dick.
Yeah.
Just to, I just say
Gonna
it
be?
right out of the gate. If I'm rich, I'm going to be a
Going
dick.
to be?
Yeah.
No.
I'd still be really nice, but I'd cut a whole lot of people out of my life. Yeah.
I love those things where
Yeah.
it's like you wouldn't know. If I won the lotto, you wouldn't know, but there would be signs.
But there'd be
like,
signs.
That's me all day,
Yeah.
dude.
Well, okay, so the question, what would you do if you won the lottery?
Okay, let's play this game.
All right.
How much money did I win in the lottery?
Yeah. Start
How much
with-
money am I walking
You gotta
away with
start.
after taxes and bullshit? How much do I have in my hand.
Well, what's a realistic number?
Let's say
I don't
100
even-
mil.
100 million?
Yeah,
After
because
taxes,
realistically,
everything?
like there's some lottos that go up to $1 billion, isn't there? But
Yeah,
you
like
end up
the-
getting like 500
Five.
mil out of
The
it.
Mega Millions and stuff like that. Let's keep it
All right, so here's what I
subtle
do.
but large.
100
Super,
mil.
100
100
million, is super easy for me. Super easy. Pay off my house, pay off all my family's houses, whatever. Make sure they're all set, right? Family first, right? Deal with all that. Second, everybody who works here at Bent Motorsports, I would pay off all your houses or buy you a house or whatever so that we could all work here all day long and we'd all get a salary, right? Of whatever it is, something dumb, right? Like we're all going to make $100,000 a year. It doesn't matter. We're all making $100,000 a year. And when that money burns out in 4 years, because I did the math, whatever, but it would be a fucking epic 4 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it would be sick.
He goes, I'm going to be broke, but you guys are going to be rich.
But
'cause
you're
you
all
got
gonna have a
$1 million
house.
But
a
you would
year."
own everything.
You'd own
so
everything,
you really
yeah.
can't be broke.
Exactly.
You gotta pay for food and gas.
Dude,
and
the amount of
utilities.
people that go
4
broke
a.m.
after they win the lotto is astronomical. From what
That's all
that
flashy
show?
shit.
Yeah.
Well, and
show.
also too, I'm kind of not doing you a good favor. Like, really, if you listen to the ultra rich people, there's a debate about it, but a lot of them are like, "Don't buy a house. It's just a massive liability," right? But in California, it's a little different. The market's a little different out here. You can actually make
Yeah.
good money owning a house out here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would just make it so that we could do exactly what we're doing right now, but without the
For fun.
pressure of
Having to
trying to make
succeed
payroll
heavy.
and make rent and make, it would be more fun because you wouldn't have to worry about the stressors of the money.
I'll make this easy. I'm just gonna say exactly your answer.
Same.
That's the goal in life, regardless of lottery or not. That is the goal. So
I feel like you should just dedicate like half of that to some sort
Investing.
of like a weird investment. Like you could even scatter it out with investments. And then the other half, not necessarily below it, but like get your shit in order, get your family shit in order. Like obviously everybody wants to do that. That's also a really weird one too, because you start paying for people's stuff. And that's when people start getting really weird when it comes to that. Like, hey,
Yeah.
dude, I haven't talked to you in like 14 years, but like, how you been? I heard you won the lotto.
well, that's
you want to
like
kick
Hannah
down?
saying, just cutting people off, and those randos that reach out. Sorry, man. Like, I hope you're doing well. Like, if there's an extraordinary circumstance, say someone is sick, or some type of life-altering challenge, right? I will gladly help with solid information on that.
Yeah.
Being factual.
Yeah.
That's way different. I want everyone I know and the people that I interact with to live a positive, hopefully lesser obstacle type of life.
Yeah.
Right? Even if it's someone that you see on the corner. Like I see someone on the corner all the time by Petco on Las Posas with a stroller and selling individual flowers, right? A mom, her daughter, or son, or whatever. I'm like, dude, regardless of whether they're faking it or not, to sit out there with a little kid
You're committed.
all day, that is rough.
That's rough. But
Yeah.
to be honest, if I did have any extra money, I'll just build a water park next door so at lunch we could go down water slides.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, we do
buy
have
that
an
lot.
empty
We wanted to buy
lot.
it for wheeling anyway.
Right? I mean, I know that lady with the stroller and the little kid needs a couple bucks, but I'm building a fucking water park.
Yeah, she can come to the water park. We'll give
Yeah,
her
free
free
admission.
lifetime.
We'd have like one of
admission.
those little
Yeah.
zip line things that you grab onto, but it like pulls you up to the top. And then
Yeah.
there'd be a little pool under it. So if you can't hang on, like if Hannah's little hands, can't
All
hang
right.
on.
Hey, you know what? Those little hands come in handy when there's shit that you can't fit your fucking gorilla hand into.
That's true.
okay?
She asked, I need her help to get into little
All
spaces.
right.
Under the dash.
Back it
Yeah,
up.
under the dash.
If there's
Matt?
one thing, Jeep can make little wires that come off when you cut a zip tie, but they can't make a dash bigger.
Yeah, jeez.
Matt, what would you do with your 100,000 or 100 million?
I'd do the same thing. I'd pay family stuff, take care of all family stuff, make sure I'm set. And then I'd probably run a motocross team, supercross team.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
You'll
That's a
blow
good
away
one.
like the first 50% of that. in
Well,
the
that's
first
fine.
3
I would
years.
make sure my investments take care of the rest. Because
Yeah.
that would be a dream.
Dude, like do
Love
what you
that.
want to do at that point.
Yeah.
Like, what do you like? Even if you, I guess it's different. Like, if you don't have money, then you get a lot of money, and then you don't have a lot of money again. That's probably really hard mentally. But like, I
Well,
don't know,
no, man.
man.
Like you said, right? These people who win the lottery and then 2 years later they're broke, right?
You got to be
But
able to
you
go
go
longer
talk to
than
those
that.
people, though, right? If you go talk to those people, I wonder how many of them you could interview and say, "So you won the lottery, and what'd you do?" And they're like, "I got this, and I went and did this, and I did this," and then they're poor again, right? Well, they already know how to be poor.
Yeah.
Like they've already been poor.
Yeah.
They're used to that.
They
That's
just
like
lived
normal,
it up
right?
for 4 years
So
and
like, yeah,
that's
dude,
it.
I had the best 4 years of my life. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, cool. Like that's rad, I guess.
I
right?
don't function that
Whether it
way.
was traveling or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Like I saw the world. It took me 4 years, but I saw the world. My fortune's gone, and I work at Home Depot again. Whatever.
I couldn't
I
do
mean,
it though
fucking
because
true, though.
I grew up so freaking poor. Like once I came into that, I'd make sure that it lasted my whole.
I'd live the
life.
rest of my life in guilt.
Guilt.
No, I'm for real.
Money
like,
guilt?
If you just blew it, like
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like
Okay, so
mentally,
what's your
that'd be so
answer?
hard.
What's your answer?
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
yeah?
100 mil.
$100 million.
I would put it in a long-term CD. With
I
high
already have
yields.
one of those.
Whatever.
I remember. You remember the case of CDs that we used to have in our cars and like
The same
paper
thing, yeah.
MapQuests and shit
Same
like that?
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good old days.
There's no room in Jeeps these days for that.
What would you do? Sorry, I interrupted you.
I would buy a lot of really shitty vehicles after I bought a lot of property and a few houses. And then I'd probably give both of my parents a lot of money. And then siblings. And then whatever
I'd
I had
pimp-
left, I would definitely invest into this place. And
I'd pimp some people's rides, dude. I'd go up to like all my friends and just be like, "Sorry, dude, you're driving this today," and like just go get them a car, like just straight up, just be
Just
like
fucking
just do
Mr.
stupid
Mr.
shit.
Beast
Mr.
it.
Beast
We
type
all
stuff.
pretty much have the same type of answer.
Dude, I think it would be
which
cool.
is rad. I love this. I love this family so
But
much,
I would,
man.
I would
what if we
want
do
to
a-
build
for
the
real.
car myself and then give it to him. Like because I like building stuff, you know. Like, and dude, imagine if you just had an endless budget to like, not endless, but if you had like a ridiculous budget to make like say a Jeep, just because we're a Jeep shop. Like, I want to buy my friend a Jeep, but I'm gonna get it, pimp it out myself, do all the cool shit to it, and then give it to him.
That would be
you know,
rad.
like that'd be so fun.
Well, think about with that 392 back there. Like, you push the limits of that gearing, right? You find out those things that you want and doing exactly what needs to get done. And you know that you're hooking your friend the fuck up, and he can blast that thing on whatever he wants.
Yeah.
How fun would it be
Little
to,
R&D too, you know?
to do a
Yeah.
podcast like this, or just go live on Instagram or whatever, however that works? TikTok? We have one of those, right?
TikTok Anonymous?
Yeah, we go on TikTok Anonymous, right? Whatever that's called on the Tweezer.
What?
Tweezer? Twitter.
He gets it.
Hip hop.
Hannah's confused.
And you say-
over
Hannah
here.
wasn't born yet.
She doesn't watch movies.
And we've got $100 million in the bank. And we say, okay, first one to go to your buddy's house and video yourself stealing a piece of his Jeep and bring it to me, and we'll build your whole Jeep for free.
Oh, dude, that'd be
That'd be chaotic.
That'd be
Even if you just walk up to
amazing.
my Jeep and pull something off of it, like
Oh my
nothing,
God.
that'd be great.
That'd
How
be
sick
amazing.
would that be, right? But we're not building the Jeep that got parts stolen. We're building the Jeep of the guy who went and stole your shit.
Rob
Right?
Peter to pay Paul type of thing.
Yeah. So we'll see who gets to whose house first.
dude, I've got like a long-term goal for us of being able to like kind of like buy and flip vehicles or whatever. But it'd be cool if you could like kind of pivot from that and instead like you like find people who want to have their stuff built but like don't really know what they're getting into or don't have the money or whatever, and we get to a point of like success with all of this stuff that we like can build their vehicle and then exceed their expectations by like $1 million and then be like, hey dude, by the way, it's on us.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you guys want to know
Film
how
the whole
you want to know how
process.
this happens? It happens by you subscribing to our YouTube,
Like and
so
subscribe.
that we
for
can
real.
monetize it, so that we can help you build your shit for free. Because the last thing we want to do is bill you when you come in here. The only reason we bill you is because we got to keep the doors open and we got to pay our bills. But if YouTube's paying our bills, then we can build your shit for free.
Our goals are pretty fucking selfless,
Our dreams are
which
this
is
big.
amazing.
What are we doing?
Our
YMCA?
dreams are this big.
Dude,
Y
can
on
we
the
do
end.
Bent?
B. I can't do an E.
Yeah.
Hey, Ken, BE.
That's an N for sure.
That's an
Can we
N.
do TT?
No, you're the exclamation point.
I'll be the exclamation point.
Oh my God.
All right, let's go back to gear.
Wait, what?
It's not filming anymore.
Shut up.
We're wrapped, everybody.
He's
So the
smiling.
audio
I
and
think
video,
he's
we've had some
lying.
problems. You're probably seeing a lot of Carlos's tail wagging right now. And again, click subscribe. Please subscribe. Comment. Tell us what you want. All of it helps us. And we'll see you on the next one. Don't forget, Tony Tuesdays, July 11th. We'll see you there. Thanks, Cutwater. Thanks, Off the Grid.
Peace.
So I'm still recording. Goodbye, audio. Hey. I always want to know what I sound like when I was singing. Okay, ready? What's a good song?
Hit me, baby, one more time.
Nope.